Hello, it's Tamara Hunter, and today is day number 239 of 365 Days of Awesome. Celebrate success through service. And we have our service hero, Kelly Bennett. Let me tell you about Kelly. Kelly, we're lucky to have her on the show, guys. I mean, seriously, this is a woman that has been in public relations and in the news and in the media, and we're talking the real deal for a few years. Let's put it that way. Wink, wink. And knows what she's doing. And she agreed to do this show and to share because she's all about giving back. She loves to tell stories. She loves nonprofits. Yay, we like that. And she's just a genuinely good person. So welcome, Kelly. So proud and so honored and humbled to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tamara. It's a pleasure to be here, and I love what you're doing. I love the 365 Days of Awesome. That's so amazing. I love it.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Before we get into our show, the two of us, we were talking because there's something many of you, and we have people already showing up. Oh my gosh, we'll get to you guys in a minute. But and let me just show you with you this. We don't have our names up because we had the wrong. Kelly had the wrong log in under someone else's name.
Yeah, that's my mom.
And so you just punt when you're with professionals. They figure out what to do. So that's why we don't have the name up. But there's an event going on. We were just talking about it that you actually traveled in Europe, didn't you?
Yeah. And this is breaking my heart because I toured Ireland, Iceland. I went to Paris, England, and a couple other places. And even though I did not get to go inside this beautiful building, I drove by it and took pictures outside, and because I was only in Paris for 2 days, and I'm telling you, it's just looking at this. Just the history and the art pieces and the architectural design. I know it was going through a remodel or some type of something. So it just tears at my heartstrings here.
Right. And so we really wanted to just kind of like say that we're aware that this is going on right now, that real history is taking place in a historic place. Yeah. And since it touched home, we thought we would just lead with the fact that if you're not aware, Notre Dame is burning down right now and is and I don't know that many people, most of us have read about it if you haven't seen it. So anyway, now let's get to you. Okay, first before we do, let's just catch up. We've got so many people that are saying hello. We've got Teresa Snyder here. Teresa, I don't know if you met Teresa. She actually went to one of the K's meeting. I think you were there. She was with Mikey and I. She is one of the top 50 impactors of the next impactor. And she's one of us. She is one of our the Service Heroes media team that Mikey was overseeing and came to.
I met her on the red carpet at the city gala.
There we go.
Right?
Yes, in the blue dress. Yes, that was wearing Mikey's shawl or yeah. And then we have the other one of our media team, Misty Lane, also one of the top 50. They're both really, up and comers that really are out there, have amazing stories. Teresa is a radio show or TV show host and looking to be the next, if you will, Oprah or Ellen or someone, conscious conversations. Misty has a book that is so compelling. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I'm actually interviewing Misty tomorrow.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. You already know then. You already know. And then Tamara Lennon, she actually has the Starving Dog. She is working. She's like Team Tamara's. She's been helping me with a lot of what's been happening with the next impactor. She's kind of like watching my back, running some of the teams and helping with Chemo Buddies for Life. So I just want to welcome you guys. We have a lot of others I know that are watching. So let's dive into this.
Yes.
Okay. So you have quite the history. You tell us a little bit about, bring us up to kind of right where you are now so we can kind of talk about that. But you have been doing a lot of really cool stuff, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just say it. Yes, guys. Okay, let's be humble. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
She's
you
and
know
I will
what?
tell you, she's a
It,
humble woman. So we're
but the
gonna have
thing
to
of it is
pull it
that
out.
I never really thought about it as really cool stuff. I just always thought it was my job.
Right, right.
You know,
Well,
many people go,
yeah,
"Oh, you go to all these
yeah,
events." I go, "But you know what? I'm working. I'm working.
yeah.
This is what I do."
Right.
And I never really got to thinking about it until somebody said, "Wow, you got to go somewhere." And I go, "Well, this place." And I go, "Yeah, I did." And I was like, "Wow, I really got to go." But I never ever think about it because I'm always helping somebody else,
Right.
or with a client, or I don't know. It's just, yeah, but it's part of my job, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I just absolutely love my job. I really do.
And and I will say that I got to see you in action the other day, because you had one of your clients with you, and we were at an event, and you were I got to kind of see it from the background because it was right after something had happened, so I wasn't like in the front like I usually am. I was kind
Yeah.
of hanging back that day, and so I was taking a little bit more in, and it was fascinating to me. I'm like, oh, so this is what it's like. And you really do, you guide someone through an event to then place them to talk with the right people and set it up correctly and everything, right?
Yeah, I think that day I was actually with four clients, and it was I call it like herding cats, because you've got to figure out where they're all going, and you want to make sure that they're all being taken care of. And then, you're always looking to see where the next interview is. And so this one, okay, now you go over here, now you go over there, and you come over here. So yeah, I usually don't take on four clients at one time. I can do two. Three is a big job, but four, that was crazy. But it was a lot of fun, and they enjoyed it. And I think you got a couple of interviews there, and
Oh yeah, oh yeah, it was,
places,
yeah, yeah,
musical
it's
chairs.
musical chairs. Okay, so you were telling me that you started on kind of the other side, and you were a
Mhm.
gatekeeper, weren't you?
Yeah,
You
I
were the
worked.
one who kept people like you away.
Yeah, I worked at a broadcast news station, and I was the one who decided what stories we were going to go out and do that day. So I would work with the reporters and the producers, and we'd sit there and have our meetings in the morning and say, okay, what's the news of the day? This, and this, and then I'd say, okay, you go out and cover that. What's going on at the city council meeting? What's going on over here? And so I would. The nice thing about it, though, is a lot of news agencies, and this isn't for anybody in particular. Okay, so I'm not calling any news agency out here. But what I've seen in the past is they take a look at the paper, and whatever the paper, that's what they'll go and cover. And if it's not in the paper, sometimes they are very hesitant. What I did was I made really good contacts in our community from all the PIOs, and a PIO is a press information officer. And I had the airports, I had the sheriffs, I had every single police department, I had all the colleges, I had all of the corporations. And so I made friends with all of these people and said, if you ever have anything that's newsworthy, let me know. And so I
Right.
would always get emails from different sources and say, hey, we got this going on, or hey, we got that going on. And so we were always ahead of the curve before the paper would even report on it. So we had
Uh-huh.
two investigative reporters. And so I said, you know what? And I would put them on these things that we would get. And it was really interesting because I did a lot of investigative reporting. I did a lot of fun reporting. I remember one night when the film came out with, oh gosh, Austin Powers.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
my
Right.
gosh. And the girl I sent out to do the live shot, she was perfect, and she goes, oh, it was shagalicious, and she's in line with all these people. And so we made it fun,
Right.
and enjoyable. And then a lot of, really good serious stories, but really good stories as far as according to the heart and things that touched people. So I learned what our community was needing, and that's how I started out.
So you were on that side, and we were talking about how in news journalism, it really is that whole thing. Like I'm a movieaholic, and so
Yeah.
I think of up close and personal. So I think of if it bleeds, it leads, right? And there's some truth to all of that, right? Right. She'll be back. Anybody that's been watching any kind of streaming media on Facebook or any of the platforms know that lately there's been a lot of bumping off and then coming back on. And then, so let me just make sure I'm watching for her to come in and just let her know that just come back in. Okay, so come back in. So as we're waiting, let me just tell you this, put this up, that we're about to transition in the story that she was on that side. She was on the death side, where anybody that is trying to get their story out there, that is watching right now, that like Tamara and Teresa and Misty, and here she comes. Okay, here we go. There's a count. There she is. Okay, yes. And I will just tell you this, just keep coming back if it's happening, because it might be Facebook too, because Facebook Lives,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of like bumping out and then they just come back in. I watched Misty be a pro the other day with Lauren Harris, because she kept getting bumped in, and
Well,
then she'd come back and then she would just keep going on her sentence.
do you know what they wanted me to do was broadcast live the NBA finals? Like, no. That's what I said. It goes to broadcast the NBA finals championship. And I'm like, I don't think so. So anyway,
Interesting. Okay, so we've established the fact that you really understood thoroughly what it was that, number one, was a good story, how to get a scoop on stories in front of even the print media. A lot of the TV stations were expecting the print media to go out
right,
there and beat the
right.
bushes, and you were proactive, and you've kept that proactive attitude through your whole career, correct?
Right. Yeah, I've always maintained relationships, and I think that's the main key in anything that you do, even if it's not media related. Maintaining those relationships to say, hey, I just wanted to thank you for what you did, or hey, let's go get a cup of coffee and learn about each other, and you check in every once in a while and say, and maintain the relationship, because relationships are the key to where we are all at, I think. And whether it be the media, or you can always use somebody's advice or somebody's expertise to help you along the way. And I think there's a lot of really, really good people out there. I'm a very optimistic person, that I do know that if I reached out to somebody to say, hey, can you help me with this project? Or is there anybody that you can connect me to that could do X, Y, and Z? 9 times out of 10, I think those people would work out. So
Mm-hmm.
maintaining those relationships, and I still have those news related relationships with all of the reporters that I had back in the day. Michelle Gilly, Vicky Vargas, David Lopez. I mean, those
Oh,
guys are
oh,
always, they're there. And I'm like, every time I see them, I go, hey guys, how you doing? They're like, oh, hi. And I could reach out to them anytime and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or give them an opportunity to say, hey, do you think you'd want to cover this story? But see, I know what they're looking for.
right, right, right.
I wouldn't call them and say, hey, I got, something going on. Do you want to cover the story? Unless I really, really knew that it would be something up their alley. So,
Okay, so with that kind of knowledge, of course, I'm going to think you can take one of your clients or someone that you're working with, or even in helping others, because you do give back a lot to charitable organizations that you really believe in, and such things like that. So you know how to take and look at it's just like, okay, I was a recruiter, and I can look at a resume, and then I can know that there's an interview, and I can say, okay, we need to really focus on this. It's there, but all this other, maybe they won't be as interested in. But this right here,
Right.
you have experience. This is what they want to be talking about. Now, understanding how this all works, you can look at one of your clients, and say, in this particular case, we
Right.
really want to bring this out, correct?
Right. There's a few instances that I can remember where, somebody would say, well, how come they're not covering my events? How come the news doesn't come out? And I have to be very blunt and honest and say, you know what? They really don't care about another golf tournament. They really don't care about your gala or, whatever you're doing. But what the news media really cares about is what your company, nonprofit, or whatever it is doing for the community.
Right.
So let's switch the story around a little bit and say, let's interview a family that this is helping, and what is it doing to that family?
Right.
How is it helping this family? And are there other families like it? Will the family go on camera and say, this is where we've been, this is what happened to us, this is, what happened since going with this organization? Would they be the spokesperson or the face? Because they want to see how it's helping the community.
Right.
Yeah. And it's also, you got to remember too, the differences between TV, radio, magazines, and newspapers.
Okay, so
There's a big difference.
Let's talk about that, because you know all of those, because you work in all of those mediums.
Mm-hmm.
You have a radio show. You work on TV. You have a column in multiple magazines. You, of course, are a publicist, and you work in all of it, all aspects.
Yeah.
So can you tell us what are the difference?
Okay, well, TV has to be visual. If it's not visual, then forget it. It's got to have pretty pictures. Okay. Because you'll watch the news sometimes and you'll see the loop going round and round and round. And if you see the visuals going again, that means they didn't have enough video to cover. Oh, so when you see that loopy thing,
yes,
it just loops and loops and loops and loops. They didn't have enough video. So you got to make sure that it's pretty, it's visual, it's pleasing to the eye. It's like eye candy. I'll never forget, I did a story long time ago about this store on Balboa Island, and they're closed now, but it was this woman who was a paraplegic, and I'm telling you, her store was eye candy because she collected all this different crazy stuff from all over the world. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's like everywhere you look, you was like, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. It's got to be visual,
Right.
Newspapers, it all depends if it's a weekly newspaper, a daily newspaper, or if it's a magazine, if it's a monthly magazine. Dailies are mostly interested in breaking news and news of the day. So if it has anything to do with what's going on, always try to find the key of what you can bring to the table about that subject. Okay. We talked about the burning of the church today.
Right.
There was a gentleman, his name's Bruno Serrato, absolutely wonderful man, and about a year and a half ago, he owns the Anaheim White House, and his
I've been there.
Restaurant burned down.
Yes, I've been to that little restaurant for my 40th birthday. It was a big deal. Yeah, the White House. Yes.
Yeah, he was going through a renovation as well.
Yes.
Oops, there goes my earring. And something caught fire, and his place burnt down. And I want to tell you, the community was devastated.
Oh yeah,
but everybody came to his aid.
Yeah.
And so what I see happening for this Notre Dame, even though it's burning down, I see the community helping and coming together and saying, you know, I don't know what's going to happen, but you know, I just remember Bruno's place burning up, and I'm thinking, you know what?
You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
Got to be a silver lining somewhere. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I agree with you. And that's so relevant. It does this is because of what we're talking about with you, a
Mm-hmm.
news story, and it fits under that daily, immediate, it's
Right.
happening now. Okay, so now
Now
what
there's
about
radio. Well, let me talk about radio really quick because you
okay,
use
yes.
radio. Radio, there is no pictures.
Right.
So you visually have to create the picture with your words.
Right.
Okay. So if you can do that, you'd be a great radio guest,
Mm-hmm.
a great podcaster, somebody that could visualize something without having pictures.
Right.
So
Right.
I did I won an award from the Associated Press when I was in college for the pink little piggies that were born at the Orange County Fair. And it was a radio broadcast, and I won in the section of um, best news story for a radio broadcast. And I started out with these two little girls
Uh-huh.
talking to themselves. And, you know, they were saying, "Oh, shh, be quiet, be quiet. The little piggies are sleeping. We don't want to wake them up."
Oh,
And the other
adorable.
one goes, "Yeah, they were just born. They were just born. Can you see that little one? Oh my gosh, he's just the sweetest little thing. I just want to hug him and kiss him." And I said, they're talking about the pink little piggies that were born at the Orange County Fair, and you can hear the pigs squealing in the background. So it visually took you there to the actual place of where I was, even though I wasn't even there. I just got the sounds and put it all together.
You
So,
know, how smart is that? How smart is that? Because I mean,
yeah,
what little girl? I'm thinking my daughter was obsessed with pink little pigs because of the Orange County Fair. I mean,
yeah,
so many,
yeah,
can relate to that because
yeah,
that's huge. And so you again, it's that whole genius of what is it that the audience is going to want to hear, and then how do you paint that picture in the medium that you want to be able to paint it within,
right,
so that you can then, working it backwards, guys, wink wink, that you can then be able to craft your
story,
your press release, or get your message out there to them,
right,
so that they're going to say, oh yeah, that interests me, we
right,
want to tell that story, right?
right. Yeah, and that's the thing is that, you know, if you've got, you know, if you know where you want to be, you know, I always tell my clients, give me 20 magazines, newspapers, broadcast channels. Let me just give me the 20 that you would love to be in. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but
Right.
let's go for the sky. I mean, you want to get in Forbes, you want to get in Entrepreneur,
Right.
you want to get in.
Yeah.
But then again, some of them say, you know what, I'd love to be in OC Weekly, or I would love to be in the County Register, you know, because you never know. But there's a lot of people out there that think that they could just jump on, you know, to be on Dr. Oz, but they get the deer in the headlights look. They gotta kind of like own their chops first before they can get to the big leagues. And so that's why I like to have my clients get on podcasts, or get on local TV, or get on Facebook Lives, or anything like that, just to get the practice.
And uh, everybody is just commenting and saying so much wonderful things about you. And, and I agree with you, because I mean, total disclosure, everybody, the reason I have a live show is because in the beginning, I really needed to practice live. And I was challenged for 365 days of awesome, and I could do it either live, or I could do it film and then upload. I had any choice, and I thought, okay, I really need this, and so I can refine my message and feel comfortable on camera for my nonprofit, right? And what what a great advice it is, because when you're on, what do you do for media training for your clients when they come to you and they say, oh yes, I'm ready to go on TV, and you know that they're going to have only so much time to answer those questions? How do you prep them?
Well, media training is a little bit a different, it's a different beast. What happens is that um, if they're going to be on a talk show, or it all depends on what media being interviewed by a reporter or
Kelly, just a minute. I want to do a sound check.
okay.
Is everybody, I'm having a bit of an issue with sound right this minute. Is anybody else having an issue hearing? There for a minute, you kind of went out. It was like we had an interruption.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, no, now we're good. Okay, so let's go back. So what
Yeah.
you were saying, let's
It
start
all
the thought again.
depends. Yeah, it all depends on where you're going to be. If you're going to be on
Okay.
TV, radio, newspapers, or a magazine. So mostly for magazines or newspapers, sometimes what they'll do is they will email you the questions, and so you can just write them out, and it's no big deal. It's the TV and the radio part of it, or a live interview from a newspaper reporter, because nowadays newspaper reporters have tape where they can also put your interview on their site.
Right.
So let's watch a video of them too. Okay. So when I prep them, I always say, well, where are we going? Like, I'll give you an example. This one doctor that I was prepping for a visit with Dr. Oz. Very clinical guy, very to the point, talking in big words. I couldn't understand. I was like, okay, so basically, what are you trying to convey here? You have to talk to the audience like they are sixth graders.
Yeah.
Because
right.
I'm serious. Because if you start using all these 20, big words, no one's going to understand what you're talking about. So talk to me as if if I'm like a sixth grader. And then the second thing is if that money shot that the news people want. They want to have that. Oh my God! Thank you so much. They want to have that emotion. I said, so when you're talking to the person who you're going to be giving this free service to, take her by the hand, put your hand on her shoulder, and touch. Make that connection, and say to her, "I'm here to help you." And be slow about it. Be diligent. Don't be just, I'm Dr. So-and-so and I'm going to offer this. You have to make it emotional. Make a connection with the person. And so I said, look what happens when you touch my hand. And when we held hands, he just you melt with somebody,
Right.
Quick story. I was in manicures a long time ago. And when you hold somebody's hand for an hour, they'll tell you anything. They tell you stories. They tell you their deep, dark secrets. So when you hold somebody's hand, they're just like, so, especially when you're telling a story. So that's what I tell, when he had to connect. For radio and for TV or interviews, you have to get your message across in 20-second sound bites. And if you can't say it in 20 seconds, they're going to cut you off because they only got 1:40 to do for the whole entire package. So if you're thinking in terms of 1:40, your part of it is 20 seconds long. So what you have to do is you have to figure out what the question's going to be, and then you got to do the answer. So that's what the reporter does. The reporter is like doing it backwards. They know what the answers they want, and now they're going to ask you the questions because they want you to say what they're going to put in their story.
Right.
Not knowing what you don't know the question, but they already know what you want to say. So what you have to do is you have to turn it around and say, okay, what's my answer going to be if they ask me, a question? And if you have a certain thing that you want to get across, it doesn't matter if they say, what color is the sky?
Right.
You're not going to, if you don't want to talk about how blue the sky is, you can say, well, this is what.
Right. And redirect the answer, right? You can redirect. And that's the thing that I didn't understand when I started in this.
Right.
And then I actually did need some help in these categories because I just would bleh. you know,
It's
and
hard.
you can't
It's
do
hard.
that. You've
It's
got
hard.
you've got to be, each word needs to be
And you have to time
really
yourself.
thought about.
And you have to time yourself. You really do, because if you don't time yourself for 20 seconds or less, just think of everything that you said after 20 seconds is gone.
Right. Right. And when you start doing that, you realize that you can actually get a lot said in that
Mhm.
20 seconds.
Right. And you can. You can. And you just have
And,
to talk fast, really. I mean, a lot of people go, well, let's see. No, sorry.
right. And so what you're saying right now, because I really want, I see some of the people, and Dr. We have Dr. One of your clients, Dr. I always say it, Gillian
Gelini.
Gillini. That's it,
Dr.
Dr. Gillini.
Gelini. Dr.
Gillini.
Gelini.
Gillini. I love him. I love
Isn't he
him. He's been
wonderful?
watching, but he has to check in. He's flying out, and so he just wanted to check out, if you will,
Aw.
and say that he just, is appreciating you, and
Aw.
thank you for coming on. He comes on to the show a lot. He
Oh,
comes,
good. Good.
yeah. I
Great
just
guy.
absolutely, yes, just so appreciate him. Okay, and so if you were to say, okay, guys, practice that 20 seconds and have maybe 3 to 5 things prepared that you always have ready to go,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say the content really needs to contain?
Well, it all depends on what the subject matter is,
Okay.
because they need to know, like, for instance, okay, I'll give you an example. One of my clients, she wrote a book,
Okay.
and the book is all about health. And it's called Hack Your Health Habits.
Oh,
Her name is Dr. Natalie Beauchamp. She's from Canada. Amazing chiropractor. But when I get her on TV talk shows or with news agencies, they always want to know about the hacking part of it. So
right.
pulled out about 5 to 7 different hacks that are in the book. And what's interesting is, if it's a hack about losing weight, or a hack about brain development, or a hack about um, creating a detoxifying your body, if you're going on TV, you have to have a visual, because you need to show people something. Okay,
Right.
this is, and having food or whatever, but you have to have that, um, the sources of what you're talking about. So if it's all about losing weight, these are the hacks that you can do to lose weight. Um,
Right.
so depending upon the subject matter, and a lot of the talk shows will go over all of this with you beforehand. But if you're out in out in the busy street, and you see a reporter out there doing these are great, man on the streets. This is a lot of fun. They'll go out there and say, "Hey, what did you think about the new movie?"
Mhm.
Just says, "Oh, the movie's great," blah blah blah, and they get their opinion about the movie. When you make that relationship with that reporter, you can always give them your card and say, "Hey, if you're ever, in need of somebody to talk about, an expert on this subject, give me a call."
Right.
So
That
now
is
you're making the
awesome.
connection. And so I'll give you a friend of mine did this, and he built planes.
Okay.
Now, how in the heck is he going to get on the news media if he's a plane builder? Well, when a plane crashed, who did they call?
Oh, sure.
They called
Sure.
him to talk about building planes, on what happens when a plane crashes. And could you
Right.
tell us a little bit more about the insides, and what would happen if this happened? He was all over the place, because he
Oh,
made that
smart.
connection with a few news agencies and say, here's my card.
Okay, so that's similar to, like, I signed up a while ago, and it's help out a reporter, or
Oh yeah,
uh,
RO.
Haro.
HORO. Uh-huh. Help a reporter
So
out.
so that's a good place for some of these people that are kind of coming up, and they're
Yeah.
like, they have a specialty area that they're going out there, and they're starting to be getting some credibility.
Right.
That's a good place for them. Is there any kind of a hint on how to, it's just fill out the information, or what are they,
Um,
how are you going to kind of rise to the top on that?
for Haro, it's help a reporter out. They can go there, and they can sign up and get the different genres that are in their interest. So I
Right.
signed up because my clients are technology, health and wellness, general lifestyle, and that sort of thing. And then they will send you an email 3 or 4 times a day, usually in the morning, one in the afternoon, and one in the evening, of all of these reporters who are looking for sources. And they could go through those sources and say, hey, that can be me. In fact, I almost did one time. I thought, well, that sounds like me. I could do that. But I'm not
Right.
or not.
Right.
But
Right.
that's how they can find they can get information from different reporters. But here's the thing: you got to be very, very careful, because if you contact that reporter about something else other than what they're asking for, you will be booted off.
Okay. All right.
So
So that
you gotta abide by the HARO.
that's good to know.
Yeah,
That's good to know. So everybody,
yeah,
if you haven't signed up for it, sign up for it, but play by the rules. Put a note
yeah.
in your Rolodex that these are the rules.
Right.
Okay, so let's keep going. You right now, I want to just kind of like bring up here too. You do like social. You have these like magazine type
Yeah.
articles, and you're kind of like that social reporter kind of person too, right?
Well, I'm the society editor, and what
Here
I
you
do
go.
is I have a
And
society, darling.
yes, let's just get that right, darling. Because I mean, there's a lot of people that are serious about this stuff. The
Yeah.
society
Well,
call.
I cover events in Orange County and some in Los Angeles about nonprofits and what they're doing to raise money. And what's really nice is that I get to go to these beautiful events and report on what they're doing. And this one that you have pulled up here, this was orange. This was the Ducks, and they had a function with Orangewood, and it was "Go Orange for Orangewood." And it was raining cats and dogs that day. It was just, oh, but everybody turned out. And it's a really nice event where if you are a Ducks fan, you can actually pay some money to get a ticket and go visit all the ducks that were there, bid on some silent auction items, and drink a little wine and eat some food and have a good time. And so there's a lot of these events that go on in Orange County and LA that I get invited to, and they want me to write about it. I do. So, oh Lordy, what's that? That's there's the angels. That's me in the dugout with Tori Hunter.
I'm from Southern California, guys. So I see this stuff and I'm like,
Oh God.
ooh, that looks like fun. That's the A Stadium,
Yeah,
the Angel
angels.
Stadium that's
You
over by
know.
Disneyland, and then the duck or the pond. I remember when that was built. When the pond, you had the pond, which is the
Yeah.
hockey team.
Yeah.
And the ducks, yeah, the Mighty Ducks. Yes, there's a movie that is like,
Well, that photo right there is the dugout at Angel Stadium, and that was taken about, I want to say, 9 years ago. I was coordinating this is a really wonderful opportunity that I got to do. I worked with the United States Army. One of our employees that I was working at a cable company, her son was deployed in Afghanistan, and he got blown up. Basically, he lost half of his face.
oh,
He actually saved his unit from disaster, and he didn't know that he had lost his face because he literally was shooting at the bad guys, and the EMTs and the paramedics are going, dude, you gotta get some help here. He's like, no, 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 I'm fine, because he looked at his hands, he looked at his feet, everything was there, and he was fine. Uh,
wow.
so when he finally realized that there was something wrong, they took him away, and he got transported to Germany for surgery. Well, they asked to give him the Silver Star, and to get a Silver Star from the United States Army is that you have to literally be in a place where it is appropriate. And since he was no longer in the military, they couldn't give it to him on base. So I
Okay.
said, what about Angel Stadium? So I contacted Angel Stadium. My friends over there, of course, remember that connection. I called
Right.
up my friend and I said, what do you think? And he goes, we would love to host him opening night for the new season. And they did it on the baseball pitcher's mound. They flew 13 of his comrades in from Fort Campbell, Kentucky. just, I mean, there's a video of what they did, and it was just amazing. I had every single news media there, ESPN, Fox Sports, you name it. Reuters was there, AP was there, everybody. And they gave this boy his silver star on the mound at Angel Stadium with the whole 40,000 incredible fans standing at attention.
Oh,
And it was just, it was one of the best days of my career. It really
I,
was.
that every part of me has chills right now,
Yeah.
and people, I'm wow, superhero,
And
and
those boys got to stay in the dugout for the first three innings. And that picture was taken because I ran into Torrey Hunter, and he goes, I said, "Oh, Mr. Torrey Hunter," and he goes, "Oh, who are you?" And I go, My name's Kelly Bennett." And he goes, "Well, what are you doing here?" I go, "I'm with these guys." I go, "What are you doing here?" He goes, "I'm playing baseball." And I go, "Oh, okay."
you know what, Erin, and great to see you, Erin. She's actually one of my Chemo Buddy for Life ambassadors. She just came on board with us. She says she remembers it. She remembers watching
Oh,
that, and how
yeah.
incredible. Okay, so moral, I want to bring that up actually. Here we've got someone that remembers seeing
Yeah.
something that you helped put together, and that goes back, it goes full
I'm gonna
circle
say,
to
yeah.
what is public relation, what is PR, what is that media relationship, what is it that we're doing in the end. And Erin, being someone that was sitting there watching something that you helped orchestrate and take care of because you had relationships that you had built, and guys, are you seeing this?
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible, the power of relationships.
It is. It is. And I'm so blessed to have those relationships because I was able to just make a phone call and say, "What do you guys think?" And they're think, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." Another relationship that's coming up, and we're going to be celebrating the 20th year, which I don't know if you know about at all, but I was part of the team that put the Amber Alert together for.
No, I did not know
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, guys, can you see why I was so excited about this woman that is so incredibly humble?
Well,
Okay,
it was, I was just part of the cog in the wheel, that makes it go round and round. What had
yeah, but
happened
each
was,
one is needed. Without it, it won't go round and round, right?
right, that's right, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
so we're coming up on 20 years. It'll be this December. And I already talked to the two girls. It was Captain Christine Murray from the Orange County Sheriff's Department and Nina Sarlato from the Attorney General's office up in Sacramento.
Okay,
And I want to say back in 1999, they came to the where I was working. I was at the Orange County News Channel, and they asked if they could partner with our channel to help put together the post training tape for police officers and sheriffs to train them how to use this Amber Alert, and we were going to implement the Amber Alert in Orange County. Now, remember, the Amber Alert came from Texas, and it came from a little girl by the name of Amber Hagerman, and they developed it because of what happened to Amber Hagerman. Now, at the chief of police's big meeting throughout whole United States, our sheriff was the only one that said, "Yes, we want to try it here in Orange County." So
wow.
they did, and we put the whole training tape together. And back then it was with fax machines, and this is
Oh,
how.
oh, 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 yeah, yeah. And
Remember, and then back
yeah,
then, and you
yeah,
also have to remember back then, police and the news media did not get along. Um,
right,
they
right,
were like, "You are the enemy. You do not belong with us. We don't want to say anything to anybody about nothing because it
right,
might hurt the case." Well,
right.
at the time, I was married to a police lieutenant, and I
Uh-huh.
was also in the news media. So I was accepted amongst the police personnel as being the good reporters, one of the good people on that side. So let's try to work together. And so when the sheriff's department came and said, can we work on this? I said, sure. And we wrote the script. We sat there and talked about, I even was in the post-training tape because we couldn't find anybody to go to the fax machine. And I did really good acting. Pick up the fax machine and go and read it. Oh yeah, this has got to go to the, and then run it into the producer. Here, we got an Amber Alert.
I love it. Okay.
And my acting debut.
So. I'm going to blast from the past. It's always fun to do this. I'm having a blast because, first of all, I was in Orange County during that time, working and very involved and did actually some filming kind of stuff back in the day and stuff. And yes, we voted if we were going to even have a fax machine at the office. I mean, we didn't know if we were going to invest in something so kind of like, really? Yeah. Is it going to really make sense? But where I wanted to go too is that, like some of this stuff, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, I was actually in one of their videos way back in the day because, guys, we didn't have what we have now. What we have in social media was nothing like what we have now. And it was exactly that. It was filming. It was, sharing it through traditional different, newspaper, the TV and everything like that. And so that's what you cut your teeth on. That's where you come from. And that's why you're here still. That's why you understand it so much. Right. So let's fast forward to, and that's incredible. To have that kind of understanding from all deep diving, you talk about a deep dive, that's a deep dive. Yeah. So it makes even that much more sense why you're able to be so successful with what you do. Now, bring in today's elements. We actually talked about that because you actually interviewed me the other day for something that you're working on. Yeah. And we talked about the fact that, it was reversed roles. You were asking, okay, where did you start and how are you here now? And so what I would love to be able to do is reverse it back on you and say, okay, you're bringing a lot of information out for a project that you're working on right now. And you are trying to help people to be able to utilize some of the skills that you have and be able to learn from them and then be able to do some of this themselves.
Right. Well, what I'm trying to do is I've noticed that because of this switch that we have, it's almost like a shift into the social media. Everybody is a reporter. You have a phone and you can take a video of a fire of a car on the freeway and tag a news agency and they'll take your video. You can do it because everybody has the ability to be that reporter or be somebody in the news media. So I figured I've given back so much to people out there in the world as far as how to do stuff. I might as well have them listen to experts, not just me, but other people in the industry who have made it in their respected fields. So if you're into music or if you're into TV or film or if you want to publish a book or you want to create a CD or you're a dress designer or whatever it is, I've got people that I've actually interviewed on how they actually created their brand and got the following, the numbers on their social media, those logos that are on their website or their marketing collateral that says "as seen in." How do you get that? Well, I'm going to show everybody how. I interviewed a guy the other day who totally blew my mind.
Really?
Yeah, and you know him.
Oh.
And I didn't know some of the things that he did, and I was like, you are incredible. This is such great nuggets that he is giving people because he started out just going to concerts and
yes, okay. I thought it was yes, I know. because, and it's like so many of these people that are so influential and actually can make a call to just about anybody are the most humble people that you
And
could
we've
ever
been friends for 20 years. And I said, I didn't know that's how you started out. Are you serious? Really?
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my God.
yeah, I know. It's crazy.
And he used to come to my shows, used to come to my TV show. And he goes, yeah, that's how I did it. And I'm like, he talked about press releases. He talked about taking classes and learning how to write AP style. And I'm like, you are absolutely amazing. So, yeah. So that's what
Oh,
I'm doing. I'm giving back. This is a free course. It's a free summit. So every day starting April 29th, if people sign up, they go to purposedrivenpr.com and
okay.
put your name and your email address, and I promise I won't spam you. But every day in your mailbox, you will receive one interview for 25 or 26 days. Because I just got a lot of people jumping on board who are telling me their story. And it doesn't really matter where you came from because it's basically how they did it and where they came from and where they are now. And so if we just replicate what they did, who knows where you could be right now?
Exactly. Okay, so it's purpose driven
PR.com.
PR.com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to put this here and so that you guys can have it and do that. Okay, there you go. Purpose driven PR.com. So this is something that you decided to do because you are just that kind of person. You have so much knowledge and you like to give back. And that's the thing I noticed from the very, very beginning of first meeting you. You seriously look at people in the eyes and you're like, okay, so tell me about you. You're serious about really caring about others. And yet, how do you affect so many different people because you are meetings, you know so many. And so this is really a gift that you're giving to so many people. And I'm humbled to know you, and I'm humbled to have been asked. And then I cannot wait to learn because I have a lot of learning to do. And yes, our mutual friend, I have to say every single time I'm like, okay, I'm here, coach. I'm here. So what can you teach me for today? And I am always learning.
Yeah. I'm always learning. Believe
Yeah.
me, because I'm in technology and me do not mix. So I'm like, one of my interviewers, I actually accidentally canceled our interview for tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I was just trying to do this. But, we're learning as we go. I mean, it's hard, but you know what? We're here to make a difference. And
Right.
that's all it counts. And if we can be real and raw and say, you know what? Yeah, I'm human, and I make mistakes, but I'm here and I'm transparent and I'm trying to help the world a little bit at a time by giving of myself and giving these opportunity and my knowledge, because a lot of people don't have the money to spend, gobs of money to have somebody else do it. And I'd rather give it away, than, I don't know. It's just something that's in my heart that I need to do.
And because you genuinely are a good person, and that's why you have a heart for the nonprofits, which I just appreciate so much. You also, and that's one of the other things I noticed, is that you really do, you were talking about this before we went live about, and you've been sprinkling it in there, that to tell the story, you need to be able to tell the story. And what you're doing with having this purpose driven PR summit is that you're going to be helping people to learn to tell the story.
Their story? What is their
Right,
story?
exactly. What is their story? And then what do they do with their story?
Right.
And that right there, because there are so many amazing people with incredible stories that can actually make a difference in this world. And with you sharing your knowledge of incredible experience, I mean, my goodness, I'm floored by the Amber thing. It's like, what haven't you done? I mean,
Well, I can't sing and I can't sew. Okay, so
well, we're together on the singing. I can actually sew, so okay.
no. I'm good with the glue gun though.
Okay, I like that. That works. All right. Well, we're rounding around the top here of the hour, and I would love for you to be able to, if there's anything like one last nugget that you can think that you'd like to share and leave us with, what would that be?
Don't be afraid.
Oh, I like that.
Don't be afraid, because a lot of people think of the news media like they can't talk or they can't do this or they can't do that. You'd be surprised if you have a passion for something that you do and you feel compelled to tell your story. Um, don't be afraid, because they will understand. They will. They really do. And they're good people. They really are.
I had to pull. We've got Eric Reed.
Yes,
He's
Ree, I can tap dance. Yes,
yes,
I can.
Eric is awesome. In fact, I cannot wait. He has this amazing show and he does all sorts of stuff. And okay, I do have one last question I need to ask because it just came to me, and there might be others thinking this too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a press release. You have a press release in
Right.
regards to something, and lately I've been given a lot of them to get out there, and I'm looking at the press release thinking, what do I do with this? How do you share press releases? Are you supposed to like fax them? Are you supposed to attach them in an email? What do you do?
Well, it all depends on what the press release is for. If you want to send it out to the news media, you have to write it AP style. Okay. And if you
Okay.
don't know how to write it AP style, then I would suggest going to YouTube and learning how, because your press release will not get picked up on a legitimate news site unless it's done that way.
Okay.
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 There are services out there to get your press release out to the wires and to the media. You can look them up. You can just Google services on how to get your press release out.
Okay.
Um, there's PR Web, there's PR Business, there's EIN. There's a whole bunch of them, and you just pay X amount of dollars and you can get it out.
Okay.
So a lot of them have a video component or photos or hyperlinks or something like that where you can insert.
Okay.
You have to have a criteria met for those photos and videos, so you got to make sure that everything is in line. And then once it goes out, you can't pull it back.
Okay. Okay.
So remember that, because
Okay.
you can't not stop it. So if it's something that you are hesitant about, then I would not do it until you are completely for sure that this is something that you want to send out.
Okay.
And then the other thing that you can do is you can also go to your local press. And this is what I do.
Okay.
And I look at articles that journalists write. And let's say you're in education and you've got an educational component that does X, Y, and Z, and it's this new widget or whatever. I'll find an education reporter that has written something about, so I'll say, and then I'll contact them. I'll say, hey, I really like that article that you wrote on X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
I've got a client that did this. Would you be interested in possibly taking this a little bit further and developing a story into, what, and kind of like parlay it off of that story? Or
So
this
like
would
a
fit
continuing.
nicely. Yeah, this
Oh,
would fit nicely. Or if it's a controversial story, you've got a controversial situation, and that they don't have the other side. Well, hey, I've got somebody that has the other side.
right.
Or you could look up on the internet and Google, because God, I'm telling you, you can search for stuff. Search for what your competitors are doing and see where it would fit. um,
Right.
because you don't always want to be in, I mean, a lot of people want to be in Forbes and Entrepreneur and all those magazines, but there are other magazines out there that are just as well
Right.
great. And then the second thing I wanted to say is Google yourself.
Okay.
Google your name with your brand and see what comes up,
Okay. Right.
and see how many pages, see how Googleable you are.
Okay.
And
Uh,
you can take a litmus test basically and see, if you send out that press release, see how many more pages the SEO comes up, because I'll tell you right now, press releases with videos and photos are higher up on the food chain than just regular words. So
Okay,
you want to see how Googleable are you, really? And
that's good.
that's the test. And then you go to Google Images and see how many images there are of you.
This is fascinating, and I think we could go on and on and on, because I mean, this is incredible stuff. Okay, so lipus test. So, like, pages is it that you? Okay, so you're so, like I already know. I have a brother that I think his pages are like endless, and then I put my name in there, and there's some others that have been around. My name, there's a couple of others that are pretty well known.
Right.
I've almost thought about changing my name.
You should see my name. I've got the what is it? Kelly Bennett is the he just left Netflix.
Right.
Like, okay,
Mine's the senior VP for one of the movie houses, and then a doctor that interviews all the time. So, I'm third on the food chain. So anyway, but okay. So the bottom line is, in that situation, you didn't change your name. I haven't changed my name. You just got to go with it, right?
You got to come up with something that's unique about you. So I'm technically considered a journalist. So if you would, I mean, is not really in PR. I'm more known for being a journalist for some reason. So if you were to put Kelly Bennett, comma, journalist, you would find a lot more because of my articles that I've been writing for the nonprofits for that magazine I was telling you about.
Right.
Well as the radio show. So, but I'm not here to get my name out there. That's not my job. My job is to get your name out there.
Right. So what you're saying here is you Google yourself, and then if it's like with me, where I have these people that have major deals, so then I need to brand myself with the SEOs, where that there's the comma, and then it's nonprofit or Chemo Buddies for Life or Service Heroes or whatever it may be, and then just really nail that home with a lot of the press.
A lot of material that you can get on people's blogs, other people's podcasts,
right?
Other people writing about you, Facebook, even doing these things. I mean, this goes up onto obviously the internet. Then this is another way. I mean, you just get out there.
And so, final question on this stream is, if you're on, because I've been on a bunch of that stuff, but I don't know that it's all on the internet. Do you need to encourage them to place it in there, or do you do it yourself, and so that it shows up all the stuff that you're doing?
No, well, normally 9 times out of 10, the people who are originating the work will put it on the internet.
Okay.
And if they're not, then if you can, what you can do is ask them for the file, and then you create something that has access, a public website or something like that, and then you stick it up there.
Perfect. Okay. I don't know about you guys, but I have learned so much this hour. I cannot wait. I'm actually going to get my notepad, and I'm going to watch this again. And you have given us so much value and so much information, Kelly. I cannot even say thank you enough. I don't think those words really have enough oomph behind them, but I hope you're feeling, my energy of gratefulness, because I am speaking for so many of my friends and so many people that are going to be watching the show, and so many of the people that you are going to be affecting. I'm going to bring this back up with your purpose-driven PR. I really want everybody here, please, 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 share the love, share this with others, and then say, watch this and sign up for purpose-driven PR. Let's support Kelly supporting all of us. Let's say thank you by giving us the numbers of like, this was something worth her time. Because that's the way I see it. I see that that's the way we can give, is to say thank you by sharing that energy. So
thank you. I do this to the other Sam, but my hand's holding the phone, so Here's
Okay.
my heart.
Oh, well, okay, okay. There you go. Okay, we're doing it. Okay, we're doing it backwards. Okay, I'll do it for us. Okay, there you
There
go.
we go. There.
You know, so what I want to do right now is I want to go ahead and close how I do and say thank you. And as we end day number 239 of 365 Days of Awesome, celebrate success through service. Kelly Bennett, you have just given us so much wonderful information that is going to help. I am actually shaking because I know inside. I mean, seriously, my ears are excited. I know how many people are going to be able to be like me and say, I now understand a little bit more of what I need to be doing to get my message out there and get it so that it's shared. Because if you have something that's exciting and is going to make a difference in people's lives, you need to be able to share it and share. And Kelly has just given us so many tools and so much insight that this is truly, Kelly, you are certainly a service hero extraordinaire, and I can't even say thank you enough.
Well, you are so welcome, and I'm so appreciative of you and your 365 day of awesomeness. I just think I wish I would have came up with that myself. That is a great marketing tool. So,
well, actually,
out to you.
365 days of awesome is as Tasha Cooney. She actually challenged me. So if you want to know who actually came up with that, it's Tasha Cooney. I came up with Celebrate Success through Service with help from Allison Larson. I mean, I will always sing praises of everybody involved in anything.
Just having your people on is amazing, you know, because I've learned a lot from some of the folks that you've interviewed, and I appreciate you helping me get this message out because, you know, that's what I dreamed about this one day, and I just thought, you know what, I really, really, really want to do this. I don't know, I just have this, I don't know, call it a calling, I guess. Just
it is a calling.
You know?
I was going to say that because it truly is a calling. When you're willing to give of your heart and give of your, if you will, assets, the knowledge you have that's going to help others, and you're doing it, you're giving it, and you're putting the energy. I know the energy that you're putting into this, and it is truly remarkable. And that's why when I started this, guys, I'm going to end it here, and I'm going to let you know that this is a woman that's experience and wealth of knowledge is I bet would be hard to match by many in the PR world. And she is here giving this of her heart, out of her soul. And this is a woman that has affected. She's given you examples. She has been there and done that in some of the biggest situations, and she is humble in helping us to do it.
You make me cry. Okay.
You know, I just want to say thank you so very much. I appreciate you so very much, and I'm honored to know you.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much.
See you guys tomorrow. Make it a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye.